Welcome to Work From Your Happy Place, the podcast that equips you with the tools, know-how, and motivation to live your dreams and find your happy place. Be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter for a recap of the week's guests and a preview of what's in store. To sign up, simply text the word Happy Place with no space to 33444. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the host of Work From Your Happy Place, Belinda Ellsworth.
Hi, everyone. It's Belinda Ellsworth here, and welcome to Work From Your Happy Place. I am so excited today. We have a great show for you. I have Lindsay Tompkins from Media Market with me today. As a content and social media specialist, Lindsay helps business and entrepreneurs harness the power of social media to generate sales, leads, and overall brand awareness. Her creative and engaging content strategies will increase your reach online as well as help generate loyal ambassadors. The key to content marketing is to say the right thing at the right time, and Lindsay will help you establish meaningful and profitable relationships with your customers. I know it has been absolutely a privilege to have Lindsay Tompkins work with us here at Step Into Success with our social media strategies. So Lindsay, welcome.
Hey, Belinda. Thanks so much for having me here. That's such a nice bio you read about me.
Well, thanks. It's all true and more. So why don't you just fill in the gaps a little bit for our listeners and tell us just a little bit about yourself and a little bit more about your business.
Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, you did an amazing job at that. But like you said, my name's Lindsay, and I own the social media boutique Media Market. So what I do is I get to work with small business owners across a variety of industries on how they can utilize social media to increase their brand awareness. I'm also actively involved in the direct sales industry, and I get to work with the field as well as a lot of corporate companies on how they too can increase their sales, recruiting, and their brand awareness online. Not only do I work with clients to provide them strategies that work, I really enjoy the training aspect of just coming in and teaching their people, whether it's, a sales field or a group of employees, on how they can really utilize social media to their benefit.
That's awesome. So tell us how the business has shaped your lifestyle. We're really talking about working from your happy place and everything. So how has being an entrepreneur and having your own business shaped your lifestyle?
Right. So, I mean, it has changed my day-to-day life completely. The first being, of course, that I'm able to work from home. As a small business owner, it's really great because I don't have a lot of overhead. I don't have a full office full of people. I don't have, a warehouse or any of those things. It's really just me and my laptop and some really great freelancers that I work with on an ongoing basis. Living this laptop lifestyle, so to speak, gives me the chance to work from anywhere. Last year I was able to visit my friend in Thailand for a few weeks. And I mean, even just these last few days, I was able to come visit you here in Michigan. So the flexibility of where I work is a huge plus for me. I'd have to say the other way that it's really changed my day-to-day life is the income. It's a huge plus. Months where I'm really busy personally and I want to relax a bit, I have that opportunity to work less because I'm in control of my workload. But the months where I need more, I'm able to add more projects to help where need be. A few months ago, I unfortunately got into a car accident. So at that time, my expenses went up and I had some bills that I had to pay in a really short time frame. So instead of just, sitting around and stressing and trying to figure out where the money would come from, I got on the phone and got a client.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think people look and they always see the successful side. And I think social media really plays that up. Everybody looks at it and they go, oh, it's so easy for her, or, oh, she's got it made, or, wow, I could never be like that. And so, I think all of us as entrepreneurs go through really great challenges that most of the world does not see, especially on social media, which is where your expertise lies. So can you tell us about a challenge or situation where you just felt like, wow, this is really having an impact, or it's been a struggle for me? And then how did you work through that?
Right. I totally agree with what you just said, too, about social media. I think, on social media, we always put our, best foot forward. And I think that sometimes it's, not to be inauthentic, but we sometimes create this facade of like everything's perfect, everything's great, but there's so much going on in the background. And we try our hardest as entrepreneurs not to let those things shine through. So I'd say like the biggest challenge that I had isn't necessarily business related, but it definitely impacted my business in a big way at that time. Last year, I unfortunately ended my engagement a few months before my wedding. It was definitely hard deciding to end an engagement in general. I said yes for a reason. I had already accepted what my life would be. So it's really hard to make the decision to walk away from that. But walking away is the strong thing. It definitely would have been easier just to stay. But still, of course, I was devastated. It was right smack in the middle of some really big projects that would impact my career too. And some days, no matter how much work needed to be done, I just couldn't get out of bed. Nothing at that moment can make me want my business bad enough. And the worst part is I had clients who were unhappy. I had freelancers that I worked with that were unhappy. And I even had friends who were unhappy. And obviously, I was devastated and I was unhappy too. I had just lost my fiance. I was starting to lose, not even just money. That's not the scary thing. Money comes and goes. But I was losing the trust and the confidence of the people and the clients that rely on me. No matter how much my personal life was falling apart, I had to commit to refocusing my professional life. As entrepreneurs and small business owners, our personal and business life, they overlap a lot, mostly because we don't have this, traditional 9-to-5 job. We work when we have to. So many times we realize how the work interferes with our personal life, but it really does go the opposite way too. And our personal life can really start to take over our professional. I had to toughen up and, do what I had to do. I sat down one day and I wrote down a list of all the reasons why I love my business and why it makes me happy. And I just focused on those things. I reaffirmed my belief system in not only my business, but in myself as well. And as soon as I made that change, my attitude changed, not just for my business, but in my personal life. So I was able to just move forward with that. Because like you were just saying, on social media, we always come across a certain way. And it was difficult during that time to, be sitting at a computer crying, but posting really uplifting things. But you just have to constantly remind yourself, like, why you believe in yourself and why you believe in your business. And once you accept that part of it and you really believe it, there's absolutely no challenge that will stand in your way.
That's awesome. And that certainly is a really great example of dealing with a challenge and then working through that, because I do think as an entrepreneur, the two do blend and overlap. That's kind of the beauty of it. And sometimes that can be the struggle of it. You don't just get to leave the office and say, okay, I'm done with that for the day. You get to work when you want, which sometimes is in your pajamas and at night at 1:00 in the morning, if that's what you want to do. But at the same time, it's this constant blend of your professional and personal life. And so they can get in the way when you're having those challenges. So I really appreciated you sharing that. I know it was very personal.
Oh, of course.
So what are some of your greatest skill sets that have helped you succeed in owning your own business?
Personal branding and networking, hands down, above everything else. But you don't need to be an extrovert to be sociable and awesome at networking. It really is a learned skill. So for all of you introverts that are listening, don't tune out and think, well, I can't do that. I'm not, confident enough to pursue networking, because you really can. I'm actually really shy as a person. I was telling you right before we came on this podcast, I'm like, my stomach is turning. I feel so nervous. And it's so easy because we're just talking back and forth. And I think that once you get into that conversation, it kind of, it fades. And like I said, I have to give myself a million personal affirmations before I get the guts to walk up to somebody, but I force myself to do it. Belinda, you actually have a really great chapter on networking in Direct Selling for Dummies that provides awesome tips on how to make the most out of these networking events and really how to get over that fear, because I think a lot of people really struggle with networking. It can seem like it's one of the easiest things to do, just to walk up to somebody and have a conversation. It doesn't even necessarily need to be business related, but it's actually the one thing that we are constantly holding ourselves back from, because we have this fear of rejection or this fear of they're not going to like me, I'm not good enough. I'll give you an example of, how it's really worked for me. At a networking event once, I ended up talking to this guy, Chris, and he had never met me before, nor had he ever seen my work or what I really do. Well, we got to chatting. I told him what I did, and we really just got to know each other. Well, when his acquaintance, Matt, walked over, who he knew needed something like what I offered, he said right away, "Oh my gosh, Matt, Lindsay is an amazing social media strategist. You need to hire her." And it's funny because as soon as he said that, I laughed in my head. I'm like, but am I? Do you actually know that? He had never seen my work, and I didn't really even go into talk about what I've accomplished in my career and nothing like that. But after talking to me, just even for such a short period of time, he liked me and he thought, that's someone that I would love to work with. The biggest thing that I've learned in my business, hands down, has actually been from you, Belinda, and that's that people do business with people they want to be friends with. So I definitely always keep that in mind when I'm at my networking events or I'm posting to my social media accounts.
That is great. I too, and people look at me after having been a speaker, and I've worked in sales basically my whole life, and they say, "Oh, it must just really be easy for you." But I can be kind of an introvert too. It's like when I'm on, I think about that and I'm on, but when I'm not and I'm home, I go through the same exact things that everybody else goes through. And so it's really interesting how we can appear that we're extremely outgoing, but we all still struggle with some of those same self-doubt issues and things, no matter what our personality type is. And so I think it's good for all of our listeners to know that, because I know a lot of people look at you as an extremely big personality. So when they hear, that can be challenging too, it's good, I think, for everybody to understand that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, like a lot of people who, especially in the direct sales industry that, have a big focus on recruiting, is they think I need to be an extrovert in order to recruit. But it's like the fact that you may be an introvert is also a strength of yours, because there are people out there that are too introverts. So if you come across in that way and you share just authentically who you are and the fact that, yeah, you may be an introvert, other people who are like you will be attracted to you, and they'll say, hey, if she's an introvert and she can do this, I can certainly do this too. So I think a lot of people look at being an introvert or being a bit shy or a bit quiet as a weakness, but it can definitely be a strength in the right crowd.
Great. So tell us, what does working from your happy place mean to you?
Well, I mean, working from my happy place to me is definitely more of a feeling. It's waking up every day and loving what I do and being really excited to do it. I love the fact that I get to work in an industry where I help small business owners achieve success. I'm a huge supporter of local everything. So I love being able to provide them with online marketing strategies that can really take them to the next level with their business. At one point in my life, I really used to wish that I had been given, talents or skills to help people in such a significant way, being a doctor, stuff like that. Because you see all the people, you see people all the time, they cured this, saved this, they went on a missions trip to build schools and so on. And I really used to feel kind of envious about how those people were helping more. And, my skills were just in sales and marketing. So even though I've worked in this industry my entire career, I wasn't working from my happy place really until the last year or so. Because as soon as I realized that I can use any skill to help people, that's when things really changed for me. I started finding organizations that I believed in. I started offering my social media skills to help promote their content, their events, things like that. And I realized how amazing it is to help support a local business, charity, or organization. Sometimes in marketing, we get so focused on the product. Well, how does helping advertise a bottle of pop or, a pair of jeans, how can that help anybody? But it helps the entrepreneur, the small business owner, put food on the table, send their kids to school, help them give back to their communities as well. And so that's when things changed. And I realized I actually was living and working in my happy place. I used to also work for a corporate company, for a direct sales company, and I loved working with their field, but I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to wake up every day and chase my dreams. So I left the company and started Media Market. And yeah, it's just, I think your happy place for me is just waking up every day knowing that I'm chasing my own dreams and I'm helping people along the way.
Absolutely. So what projects are you working on that you're really excited about right now? I think everybody would love to kind of hear what's going on in your world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a few new projects on the go right now and some that are really exciting. I've also started to branch out to some other industries. So that's, exciting for me on my part. I have a few clients from fashion to even a welding association. So I do most of my work in the direct sales industry. So it's been fun to work with a few different industries and see how the techniques that I have successfully applied in direct sales, how that really transfers over to other industries, because this idea of sales and recruiting and lead generation doesn't just apply to this industry. It really opens up into all small businesses and organizations that are looking to, grow their reach. I also got nominated as a board member of an organization in my city that I'm super passionate about. I believe it's really important to use our skills to give back to our community. So that's definitely a project I'm excited about. But I'd have to say the most exciting project I'm working on is direct selling now with you, Belinda. I'm really excited that you invited me to that project, and I just can't wait to service the entire direct selling industry with, amazing training on sales recruiting and, the social media training that I'm going to be bringing to the table. So yeah, I'm really pumped about that.
That is awesome. So what advice would you give to others who want to be entrepreneurs?
My biggest advice would definitely be just fall in love with your work every single day. Remind yourself why you do what you do, why you believe in your business, why you believe in your dream, why you believe in yourself. You need to find new things that excite you about it, because sometimes as we, grow, and our vision can really change for our business, and we have to keep reinventing ourselves and reinventing our business. And definitely to keep learning. Once you stop learning, you stop growing, especially with concerns to social media, because it changes all the time. And, there's always these great trainings coming out. And I always have people coming up to me saying, Facebook's algorithm changed. I'm not getting the same reach on Instagram. And it's because of all these little, algorithm changes or mathematical things that deal with the back end that really affect how we do business online. So it's really important to keep up with that. And, just never stop moving forward and chasing what you want. I know that it's really cliche, but it's true. Passion and consistency trumps talent any day. So don't ever think, that you can't do something or somebody's just naturally better at it than you, because falling in love with it, being passionate about what you're doing, being passionate about your vision and what you offer, and then being consistent at that, working it every single day, will create success for you in ways that you wouldn't have ever dreamed possible.
Great. So you said your greatest skill sets definitely are in networking, and then you mentioned branding. Mm-hmm. And I think that for a lot of our listeners, they're trying to get involved in social media, but some are making mistakes at doing it. Some aren't really clear on how to do it. And we had a really interesting thing that happened yesterday, or you did, and I got to observe it because you were visiting. And I just would love you to share that story about how someone sort of reached out to you, not knowing you at all, and kind of what we would call spammed you, and then how your response and then what their response back was, and then how that made you feel just as an individual, because everybody that's listening probably has done some of the most similar things and maybe doesn't even think there's anything wrong with it, but it's always important to understand how you make another person feel. I think oftentimes that people in business, no matter what they're doing, I know this is what I coach all the time. It's like, well, how do you think that makes that person feel? Or what behavior do you think that promotes what you just did? And so when they stop and think about it, they're like, oh, I hadn't thought about it from that way. So I think real life stories are always the best examples that we can have. And it really brings in another point of always what you just said. You got to always be learning to grow on a continual basis. So I would love for our listeners for you to share that story and kind of how that played out yesterday.
No problem. So it's funny because it's funny to me that that's a situation that stuck out in your head from yesterday, because I have to say that it happens to me multiple times a day. So I'm kind of just starting to have it not affect me as much, but I know that for other people that it can definitely throw them off. So yesterday I got a message from a direct seller Not going to name the company because it happens within every single company. It's not just one. And they messaged me. They had added me to Facebook, and then they messaged me saying, hey, thank you for accepting my request. I just wanted to talk about my business with you. My goal this year is to get people making $600 a month. I would love for you to join my team, blah, 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 blah. And, I scrolled up and I'm like, I've never talked to this person in my life. I have no idea who she is. And I'm like, why do you think that it's okay to just message somebody you don't know and essentially, cold call them? We hate, as, everybody does, being at home. And, it always seems to happen in the middle of dinner too. When we get, the phone rings and we get that call from a telemarketer and they're trying to sell us something. We hate that. We hate walking into a store and feeling the salespeople just crowd us. And the thing with social media is most of the time people are on social media during their leisure hours. So they're doing it for their own entertainment and they're using their own personal time. And they're not going on there with the intention of, do you know what? I'm going to go on Facebook right now because I really feel like making some money or spending some money. So you need to be really careful as a small business owner or as a direct seller when you're on social media, and just keeping that frame of mind that people aren't on there right now necessarily looking for the next big thing. So I kind of said to her, thank you for offering that. I'm definitely all set on that part. I have my own business, but I just wanted to give her a little bit of advice. I said, I'm a social media trainer and I work a lot in the direct sales industry. And I feel like, maybe we came across each other in this way for a purpose, so I could share something with you. And I said, the biggest thing is we need to be authentic on Facebook. We can't be spammers. We can't just, add a bunch of people and send them all the same message. One day I had 3 different consultants from a company legitimately message me the exact same message, same copy, same language. I was just blown away. And I'm like, people are just blanket messaging people. For one, it didn't make me feel like I was special in any way. I was like, I know she's also messaged 40 other people the same thing. And, she's looking for quantity, not quality. She didn't know anything about me. And yeah, she just came across very spammy. So I told her, you want to build relationships with people. If you see somebody that you think would be awesome at your business, get to know them, start to develop a friendship. Social media marketing is definitely not a short-term, plan. It's a long haul plan because it takes a lot of conditioning and a lot of work to till those relationships and really build them to where people trust you. Because on social media, in person, if you're at a home party, it's really easy to kind of build that trust because you're one-on-one with them. But on social media, you're hiding behind a computer screen, you're hiding behind a photo that may or may not be you. So you want to create those relationships. And I kind of, tried to lay that out for her. And when I was typing to her, I went to her page to just look at her Facebook page. And I noticed that she had unfriended me. So then I said to her, and I was like, I noticed that you unfriended me. And she's like, well, I wanted to get you off my Facebook list so I didn't message you about my business again. And I was blown away. I was like, first I was upset that you messaged me about your business without even knowing me. And now I'm kind of upset that you're writing me off. Like I could never be a part of the business. She's like, well, if you know about the direct sales industry, you've definitely tried our product and, you must have tried it by now. And if you're not in the business, it must mean that you didn't like it. Like, actually, I haven't tried the product because I have, run into this situation a few times where I felt it's been a little pushy. I'm actually interested in this particular product. I'm like, but now I would never buy it from you because I don't trust you as a consultant. I don't trust you as somebody I want to do business with. I'm like, and why would you write me off? Like, if you would have, even just after this, apologized, been like, I'm so sorry. Do you know what? It wasn't cool of me to just message you like that. You just seemed like somebody who was really outgoing and you had a lot of influence on your page. And I really thought you could be perfect at this. But you know what? I'd still like to get to know each other. I think that I'd love to learn from you, blah, blah, blah. And, after a while, we could have built this relationship. I could have continually seen her posts and been like, do you know what? Actually, this may be something that I'd be interested in. A lot of people need to see something like, something as high as even 20, 30, 40 times before they make a decision whether, to buy or join. So just to completely write off somebody right away, really, put me off guard. And it made me feel like, well, why wouldn't you want me on my team? So we kind of put our prospects through a lot of these different emotions on how we come across to them.
I think you're forgetting one of the pieces that was like astounding to me. And this happened even before that you said you unfriended me, before that part of the conversation. So you wrote back and said, thanks, I'm, already with a direct sales company, but I actually teach social media and we offer really good training and it would be something that you could be interested for your team. And her response was to me, I was like, are you kidding me? So her response was, oh, no, thanks. I'm really, really big with my company. I'm at one of the top levels and I don't need any other training. And wow. I
know. I totally see. I even forgot about this because I feel like this happens to me all the time. So and I was like, so you want me to just, first of all, accept your business as is, and like you want to throw it in my face. And when I'm trying to talk about mine, you're so quick to shut me down. And I said to her, I'm like, you need to be open to other people. Like, what makes these other people tick and what are they interested in? Because if you're going to shut me down in 2 seconds, why do you think that I'm going to open up about your opportunity in your business? And I mean, just even her getting involved with that, would have been beneficial to her for sure. She would have got some amazing training, but she would have, again, cultivated that, friendship or that interest level there.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I get it too periodically, but not as much, I would say. And I was just absolutely, I have to say, with the exchange of conversation, I was blown away. I'm like, seriously? Maybe you're used to it, but I was blown away by the whole thing of it. And I think it's good for our listeners to hear that and think about how they're presenting themselves and how they make a potential customer feel. Because
and it's sad that I'm used to it. It's sad. Like, my reaction should be your reaction. Like, those are the things that should be sticking out in my head. But, when it comes to direct sales, being scammers and spammy have, in some way, especially online, have become kind of synonymous with it. And I think that people now just expect this from direct sellers, which is really sad.
It is, because we're not. Most of us are, very smart, intelligent people who offer a fantastic product or opportunity. And I know for me, for my whole life, all I want to do is see people succeed. And I also know in my life that I'm open to any training. Like, I just signed up today. You were sitting there like, I'm going to watch this webinar tomorrow. And because the minute I close my mind off to learning, well, I'm never going to continue to grow. So in all the years I've been doing this, even as a professional trainer, I'm constantly looking for what's the latest, what's the greatest, what's the new trends. And that's really what our Direct Selling Now platform is really all about.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, Lindsay, this has been a delightful interview with you today, and I know many of our listeners are going to take away some great points from you. So how can everyone find you?
Well, people can definitely head over to my website. It's media-market.ca, or find me on Periscope at Linds. So that's LINDS_Tompkins. And I'm Lindsay Tompkins on Facebook.
That is wonderful. Thanks so much, Lindsay. And
thank you.
We loved having you here today.
Thanks, Belinda. I loved being here.
Thanks for joining us at Work From Your Happy Place. If you like what you hear, please share it with your friends and be sure to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher. For a free gift on finding your own happy place, please visit workfromyourhappyplace.com and click on the free audio button. Thanks again for listening.